So we did the first half of this yesterday. Now we're going to finish it. It is Final Fantasy. This is the documentary. It's a documentary. What is it called? Documentary? Now, see, I said it wrong way. Like, now I can't say it the right way anymore. I forgot what the right way was. So we last left off right here. Yoshi P took over the game, and people are a little bit worried about it. Here we go.
やっぱりちゃんと面白いものを作っていけばみんなプレイをしてくれるっていうのも数字の上からもよく見えたので当時の7つ
This, yeah, they brought us 7 jobs at the same time.
パッチナンバー忘れちゃったけど7つのジョブがいっぺんに実装されたんですけど
It's crazy how much like some game studios can just like fucking pump out content. It's always weird to me to see like one studio that it's like, man, they can do something like this, and then there's like other studios where it's like, yeah. So the boss bugs out. Jeez, dude. Oh man. All right. We got a pipeline for these things, and you know, we'll see what happens, and it takes a year to get it fixed.
たった一人のゲームデザイナーが作ったんで
Yeah, that's it. One guy.
The team had their sights set on what needed to be changed and how they were going to do it.
Isn't that crazy?
For the first time in years, they were feeling hopeful, and even better, players were finally starting to respond with positivity. But right as they were settling into this new reality and finding their rhythm, disaster struck.
The dark clouds.
For 6 minutes, Japan shook. A 9.0 earthquake had struck 200 miles northeast of Tokyo, and a resulting tsunami devastated coastal regions. What followed...
Oh, bro, like, I remember whenever this shit happened, that freaked me out. Like, I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? Like, did you guys see it too? It was brutal, man.
It was a humanitarian and infrastructural disaster.
I'd never seen anything like this before.
While the country rallied to help those affected, Tokyo suffered aftershocks and frequent electrical blackouts. I asked Yoshida-san if he'd like to share how this had affected the team.
まあ東京もそうは言ってもすごい揺れたのでやっぱりまあ当日はね会社に泊まった方が安全だって言って帰らないでずっとニュースを見てるっていう人たちもいたしやっぱり東北に家族とかね親戚とかいるスタッフも当然いたのでまあもう正直言うともう開発どころではなかったのは確かにそうですねで開発なんか優先すべきじゃないと思うのでやっぱりみんな開発者の前に人なので
Remember whenever Amazon made all the people, like they didn't make them all keep working, it was just like bad fucking management, but like remember there was like that tornado and people in Amazon got killed? It's crazy to see like what the difference is with that, right? It is, like, and that happened recently. They made them stay, yeah. Well, they didn't make them stay. Well, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like the thing that they got made to stay. That was like the lawsuit. So of course that's what they're alleging. Doesn't necessarily mean that's what happened.
まあ日本中電力が足りなくなっていたので、まあ本当に些細なのかもしれないけど、
Look at that, bro. Like
サーバーを全部落とそう。
I remember like watching videos of this whenever it happened, and I couldn't even believe it. Like I straight up could not believe like this could happen. Like I was like, bro, this is like it's like a model editor in a video game. Yeah, it was like a movie. Yeah, it was some Pacific Rim shit.
まあ少しでも協力できることがあればっていうことで。プレイヤーの皆さんにも申し訳ないんですけどサーバーを一定期間止めますっていう話をしてそんな時期でしたね
Yeah, shut the servers down. It's probably a good idea.
サーバーの稼働を再開してからプレイヤーの方からまあお手紙をいただいたりしたんですけどエオルゼアの中で遠くにいる友達の無事が確認できた
That's nice.
エオルゼアがあったから電話も通じない連絡の手段がなかったところ、エオルゼアの中にログインしてきてくれたことで、
that's cool.
無事だったっていうのが、
Holy shit, that's actually badass.
人たちの情報っていうのも分かったっていうお話をいくつかいただいて、
See, like that's the one thing that like I really feel like nobody ever talks about the good shit that comes out of video games. It's always the bad shit. But there's like a lot of these like really small, like good personal stories. And like the fact is like that's the majority of them are the good stories of people that have these like great things happen with video games. Yeah, it's a good thing.
力が足りなければね、当然そのサーバーなんて落とせばいいかなと思うんですけど、そうじゃない限りは続けるっていうこともそのエオルゼアを維持しておくっていうことも一つのなんかこうサポートなのかなって思った機会でもありましたね、その時は。だから続けてくれてありがとうって言われたんですよ。その
That's brutal, man. Holy shit.
開発であとは最も大きかったのは実はイフリートの次に戦う
Yeah, it's Leviathan in
ボ
real
スはリ
life.
ヴァイアさんの予定で、リヴァイアさんをかなりの速度で作ってたんですけど、とてもじゃないけどリリースなんかできないっていう話で、だからイフリートの後モーグリが実装されているのはそれが理由ですね。急いでモーグリを作り直した。
The Moogle oh my god.
し直したので、いやそんな。
Bro, that fight made me so mad. Because everybody was telling me all the time, they're like, oh bro, you have to slow it down to listen to what they're saying in the song. I'm like, no, like that's not true. And like, it would make me so mad.
ことはなかったですよ。みんなやっぱりそれぞれのその時期会社に来れない人
Oh
た
damn.
ちも何日か会社も休みにしてるんで、ただどっちかっていうとその自分たちにできることをやろうっていうみんな感じだった。そうじゃあ全員で福島に行って何か僕らが活動することって意味があるのか。あれだけたくさんの人たちが押しかけてる中で、だったら僕らは
I wonder like how much looting there was. Because like every time that we have like one of these big natural disasters here in the US, that's free TV week for some people, right? None? Like that's what I wonder. Like it's like cuz people would say that, but like is that really true? Like I don't know.
そのなんだろう、彼らが落ち着いた時にゲームを楽しく遊べるように、僕らは結局ゲーム作るしか脳がないので、ゲームを作り続けるのが結局何よりなのかもっていう、こういう話はしなかったですけど、
That's a smart thing to say.
みんな
Yeah.
そういう感じで復帰してきてましたよ、仕事に。
Yeah, distract people as much as you can. That's what people that make video games do, right? It's a distraction. That's the good shit. At least I think so. I think that's a good thing.
Over the coming months, the team would release patch after patch for 1.0. 1.17 introduced 8-player parties and more stable network infrastructure. 1.18 dropped in June 2011 and was a huge patch that made the game much more playable. Level caps
Imagine
lowered
that.
for story quests. It added grand companies, class adjustments,
Oh, yeah.
instance dungeons, and auto attack. Yes, would you believe this game still didn't have auto attack? It featured a more user-friendly map interface and also scrapped the controversial fatigue system.
And so we need to take this concept that Yoshida-san has created, make it fit with the current world, write stories around it, make the transition seem seamless, and then in the new world, make it so that there's still some connection with that old world that will be understood by those core players, but won't alienate new players. It won't be something like, oh, you didn't play that old, the stuff in 1.0, so you're going to be completely lost. Because we don't want to do that either. We want to get new players to come that didn't
That's
play
really
the original
important.
one. We
I
don't want to
agree
have
with that.
them have to play the original to understand this one. And so trying to work the story that way was, it was challenging, but it was a lot of fun. We got to try a lot of things. We had a lot of freedom, then especially on the 1.x stuff, because in a sense, it would only be released, seen for a few months, and then it would be gone forever.
Yeah.
And so
who gives a fuck?
on one hand, that's really exciting because we can do whatever we want. We can create these crazy stories, have these crazy characters, all of these in all these crazy situations, and go,
Bro, the fucking best part of A Realm Reborn where it was whenever he held her up like a fucking parrot while she was talking to everybody. Oh my god, that was actually the best part of it.
balls to the wall. But on the other hand, we're working day and night on something that only a few thousand people are going to see and will be gone in 6 months.
Yeah.
I really think, I mean, I look back at it now, I think we did a lot of our best work during that one point. And it's sad.
I'm not surprised about that because like that's whenever you just do whatever you want to do. I think it's like a certain level of creative freedom where you can just do whatever the fuck, right? Like that's the way I would feel.
Is ever going to see that. Maybe, you know, there's some videos up on YouTube where people can still go back and
yeah,
check them
we
out.
watched
But
some of those.
A lot of, you know, some of the best stories, some of the most crazy stuff went on during that 1.x period because it was pretty much no holds barred. Anything can happen. We had like crazy cults and you had like, you know, people from the Garlean Empire. There was like propaganda, giant.
Well, I feel like there were some things like, for example, the fucking Philemon, or I don't know how to say her fucking name, Gilfina, who, you know, like she was a singer and then you had to find her and like all this and like that is kind of important to know in the story, I think. Yeah, Philemon. Yeah, well, whatever the fuck her name is, I don't know what her name is. And anyway, that does matter because it explains why like Thancred cares about her a lot. Yeah, it fills in the backstory.
And some machines, and it was just anything goes in a type of situation there, and it was just really a lot of fun.
1.19 signified the 1-year anniversary. Players finally got personal chocobos, and in the distance, one light in the night sky burnt slightly brighter, a sign of things to come.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
very first time it was
that is
just
cool.
Some rumor between players. Oh, is it getting bigger? No, I don't think so.
This was also when Square Enix announced that an entirely new...
I wish Blizzard would do something like that. Like, that's honestly what I wish they would do. Is like, one day, the Sargeras sword is just gone. Yeah, it's just gone. Where'd it go? You know, it is what it is, right? It's gone. Like, some massive fucking change like that. Yeah, like the Argos Star, exactly.
Version of the game had been in development since January, and that current players would receive copies of it for free. They also announced that players' character data and progress would be transferred to this new version, what they were then calling version 2.0. A roadmap for patches was outlined, and it was announced that monthly fees would be reinstated as of January 2012, as an incentive for players to keep playing.
That looked awful. Oh my god. Look at her name. Nyan Nyan? Oh my god.
While the fees were introduced, they announced Legacy Campaign, which rewarded players who paid for at least 3 months of service with permanently reduced monthly fees. Those players would also get an exclusive Chocobo mount, while as a thank you for their support during the redevelopment, their names would be featured in the credits of the new game.
They still have that.
10月14日に
2011
レルムリボーンっていう14を全く新しいゲームとして作り直してますっていう発表を同時にすることで、どうなる？このままアップデートしていくんじゃないの？一体どうなるのこの先？楽しかったですよ。
1.2 was the final patch of 2011. It saw
I would bet. It's like, it's like, what the fuck is going to happen? I don't know.
The servers renamed, while the moon Dalamud now seemed larger in the sky. 1.21 came in March 2012, introducing a new job system and 2 new dungeons. 1.22 followed in April. Dalamud grew closer, and now some players are beginning to have nightmares. Ominous dreams greet players who log into the game while at an inn. The community all the while trying to figure this out. Is the moon going to destroy the world? Then how will player data be saved in 2.0? They wouldn't have to wait long for answers. That summer, a trailer revealed that 2.0 would be titled A Realm Reborn.
Holy shit, that's badass!
Interviews explaining the future of the game and the features players can expect. On September 12, 2012, the final patch for 1.0 was released. The game updates to 1.23b, and with it comes an enormous Dalamud.
Oh my god.
Its mechanical outer shell now in full view. Players now realizing that this world didn't have long left. On November 1st, 2012, a final in-game battle began.
Holy shit.
Square Enix made entry free for the final week of the game, while a haunting song can be heard playing on the wind across the entire realm. While the server struggled to deal with the load, players got together with their friends one last time, as the development team in Japan spammed enemies outside capital cities. One group of players outside of Gul'da has become legendary, attempting to protect the city with what we now call the Great Gobu Wall.
Holy shit.
right before download hit Elzer, we had to do some chaotic situation to the existing world.
That would make sense.
So what we decided to do is to spawn the strong enemies at the near the main cities.
And like the funny thing is, I bet they got that idea from Blizzard, because that's exactly what Blizzard did. They did that at the end of the betas, and they did that from like, I think it was like a vanilla WoW going into BC. Like, and it was fucking cool too. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, other MMOs did that too. Yeah, it was badass.
Even when I popped the very strong, I mean, Manticore or the mobile or the giant monsters, players kill instantly.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, instantly. Yeah, just snap. So
that's where he
Jesus.
fucking attacked the ship.
You killed my monster again. So what we can do is just keep spawning the lots of monsters, and then in very late night when I was doing, I mean, keep spawning the monsters. The one programmer just, I mean, I've never talked to him before, but just coming down to my desk and then just give me a bit of paper with some numbers, which numbers I can understand. This is the number of the certain monster.
Okay.
I can type in
The item,
so that,
the character ID.
Then I can spawn a very new, stronger monsters. Oh, thank you very much. It's the program.
They did this during the classic beta too. Remember that? So I was doing the classic beta stress test, and then they just randomly spawned Cthulhu. And like the I-beam killed like 1,000 people. Then Omar randomly, out of everybody, picks me out of the crowd, teleports me to the top of the fucking map, and makes me fall down and die from fall damage. Remember that?
So that was a very fun moment.
You were like playing God.
At first, I felt like God.
That's about right.
Hey, players, can you beat my monsters? But no. I was very weak God.
They were God.
Yeah, they were God.
So it was then, on Sunday, November 11th, 2012, just over a year after Final Fantasy XIV was originally launched, with Dalamud hanging in the sky, that the servers were finally turned off. And as they did, a trailer dropped, showing players what was to become of their old home.
That's so badass. That is so fucking cool, man. God damn. I feel like the best part of that was the fact that like at the very beginning, you know what happened. Like, I honestly think it was so fucking cool that there was a part 2 of that cinematic, and like you didn't even find out about it until you beat the last raid. That was just amazing.
I mean, it's
like there are very few, like that's like From Software level of confidence. It's like, we know this is so good that we're not even going to show you the best part. You're going to have to play the game for that. It's so well done. Yeah, it's just, honestly, it was one of the best parts of like playing the game. It was badass.
I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you had something that not a lot of people liked, and everyone wanted to forget about it. So rather than, just taking that and doing it over, and just reimagining it, why not destroy that and start over? If we leave too much of that original core there, then it will just linger on as that kind of cancer that, will always bring us back to that failure.
Yep.
Why not just clean the slate? But on the other hand,
that's what they should do with WoW. Is I think it's the same thing. Like, fucking wipe the slate clean, erase, yeet, and delete. Like, let's change some shit up. Let's actually move on. I would love to see that. Another Cataclysm.
This is where,
yeah, I think that's what they should have done. They should have just. The thing with like WoW Cataclysm is like, it's like I think it was a good idea for them to do Cataclysm. I do. But they should have changed more about the game. And I think they need another one. Like, they need a big fucking Cataclysm in the game. I honestly thought we were going to get it after Shadowlands. You know what I think? I think that Blizzard maybe thought they were going to do it after Shadowlands. But, like, after the fucking investigation and everything, maybe it just never happened.
Things kind of
WoW
got complicated.
2? Yeah, I need WoW 2.
No matter how bad the reviews were and how many people bought the game but then left the game, there was still this core of players in both Japan and Europe, North America, that were passionate about the game.
You know what I think about? Like, this is like a fantasy of mine. Is like, what if, like, in 7 years from now, they make a video like this whenever they do the same thing for New World, and they make New World, and they actually call it that, and like they say, fuck it, like, it is what it is, right? And it's like, the game's actually like super good, and like I log on and it's like, yeah, dude, it's New World all over again. Like, it's got, yeah, like, I mean, that's not, no, it's not copium. Like, it's just, I mean, it could happen, right? I mean, there's a chance it could happen.
In the state that it was, they were passionate about the game. They were passionate about the series and their characters that they had created, and were now living in this MMO. And so, it would have been easy to just say, okay, bye guys, But if you do that, then you've basically alienated the only group that stuck with you, for all of those years, when everyone else is slamming the game, talking about how bad it is. I mean, those guys were troopers. They would go on the forums. They were defending, the development team when a lot of times we didn't deserve defending. So that idea to...
That's a little fucking familiar, isn't it?
Wipe the slate clean, but not make it something completely new. Make it something that was connected.
I have to say, like, this guy, Gaius von Belsar, I think this is him. I'm like 90% sure. Maybe it was somebody else in the other one. I remember whenever you were on that elevator ride, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, are we sure he's the bad guy? Like, are we sure? Like, cause I don't know. Like, this guy's pretty cool.
Some way to that, to, the old game. The decision made by Yoshida-san to, okay, let's, bring down Dalamud, destroy the planet, destroy the realm, but then bring it back.
Yeah.
Figuring out a way to make that happen within the current story. Make it feel natural. Make it feel like that was always the plan. Was the biggest challenge, I think.
Yeah, I would say
the team
so.
at Square Enix had worked themselves to the bone, not only recreating Final Fantasy XIV in A Realm Reborn, but also by dedicating time and money to ensuring that 1.0 players felt part of that story. The moon, Dalamud, had crashed into the world of Eorzea. That world was gone forever.
Yeah.
Only one question remained. What was going to rise out of its ashes?
Okay, here we go. This is the new world. Did you know about any of the 1.0 stuff? I know about the story stuff. People could quiz me and like be like, oh, do you remember this, remember that? Like, I probably would remember all of them. Legendary sex scene, I don't remember that. Quiz stream when? I'll take a Final Fantasy quiz stream. I'll do that. Yeah, I would do that. Subtitles is good. We good. Yeah, I'll look into it after this.
Hello and welcome to the final part of our fantastical tale. We sit on the
Dude, whenever I was a kid, like I saw the Sega thing, it made me think of it. Like, the only thing I wanted to do was go to Japan, because like that's where they made Nintendo shit and everything. But I wanted to go to Japan so bad whenever I was a kid.
Of the rebirth of Square Enix's New World, almost exactly 3 years after the original catastrophic launch, Eorzea was going to be getting a second chance. But this time, everybody knew it wasn't going to be getting a third.
Well, I bet. Uh-oh, the new world.
Once Dalamud had struck, Yoshida-san moved the 1.x patch team into the main team working on A Realm Reborn, taking lessons from contemporary MMOs, feedback from players over the 1.x phase, and elements that worked from the original version. They crafted a modern Final Fantasy XIV, set in a vibrant world that reflected the energy of the franchise. And for Yoshida-san and some other members of the team, this was going to be a very public thing.
It looks
as they
so
took the
much
short
better.
train ride from the office in Shinjuku to Shibuya to take part in a very special launch event.
その渋谷のイベントへ向かうために朝電車に乗ってた。で、少しリハーサルを当然やらなきゃいけないので、まあ少し早めに家を出て、ああいよいよ発売日かって思いながら、その
I will be freaking out.
電車に乗っていたらちょうどそのドアの近くに立ってたんですよ。 そしたらそのドアの僕は右側に立ってたんだけど、左側に立っていた男の子、多分大学生ぐらいだと思うんだけど、緑の綺麗な男の子がすっと僕のところに寄ってきて、小声で「
What do you say?
吉田さんですよね、本当に発売おめでとうございます」って。
Isn't that nice? Mr. Yoshida, I really want to congratulate you on the release. I am a player. Like, it's not some crazy ass shit. It's not some like live, oh, be on my live stream. It's not anything weird. It's just like, yeah, thank you. That's it. That's so cool.
って言われたんですよ。
Yeah. It's not some crazy kid or anything like that. Yeah, just a normal person.
そのイベントを始めて、で、まあみんなでそのまあここまで来る話をまあステージでしていて、
Yo, can I get a shout out? Yeah. Can you follow me on Twitter?
まあマイクが当たってきて話をしようとしたら、その朝そう言われたことをちょっと思い出しちゃって、いやいろいろあったなって思ったら、言葉に詰まっちゃった瞬間にその来てたプレイヤーたち、お客さんたちがこう頑張れって言われちゃって。
God, remember this is like after 2 years of fucking like grinding every day.
MMO って発売してもそれがゴールじゃないスタートなので、なんかあんまり干渉に浸ってる暇なんて
Yeah, they worked their
本来ないん
fucking
だけど、
ass off.
思わずこうプレイヤーにこう頑張れって言われたせいで泣けてきちゃって、恥ずかしかったですね。
運営を続けていこうと思います。本当にありがとうございます。そしてこれからもどうぞよろしくお願いします。
Came out 2013. When was that? So August 27th, 2013. So like Missa Pandaria came out September 25th, 2012. So it's about a year after that. It's like around the time that like Thunder King was out, and like, yeah, that's about it. Somewhere around there. Siege, or was Siege already out by then? Maybe it's August. Like, yeah, maybe Siege was out by then. 9 years ago. That's a long time. Holy shit. Disastrous 2013, around $10 billion. Oh, 105 million. That's still a lot. Couldn't afford another failure. Yeah, true. Fuck, man. IGN. That's the new music.
Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn is a great MMORPG experience on both PC and PlayStation.
Wow.
Grounded in tradition and learning from the lessons of the games that preceded it, it thrives on the strengths of its excitingly varied and flexible class system and highly mobile combat.
The game's rough launch is mostly over, but you still might have to contend with login errors. But this is, by and large, a very good massively multiplayer game, filled with lots of stuff to do, gorgeous vistas to behold, and lots of adorable narrative touches.
The challenge ahead for Square is to achieve...
I think like one thing that was a big factor with this was the fact that like now the game, because like people are invested in the characters and like they're invested into the narrative, I think that actually played like a huge role in like Final Fantasy continuing to be popular. You know, that was a massive fucking thing.
The delicate balance of questing, dungeons, and fates for the second half of the leveling process, as well as it has the first.
8.6.
Stunning reversal
Holy
of
shit.
fortune that Square has achieved here, it seems like anything is possible.
And you've got to keep in mind, there was a bunch of goofball shit in Realm Reborn. Like, in my opinion, like the Final Fantasy that we play, I feel like that kind of happened in Stormblood, from what I've read and what I've seen. Because, like, the way the game played back then was a lot different. Am I right about that? Like, yeah, it kind of happened in Stormblood, yeah. Heavensward, you mean? I feel like Heavensward, like, Shadowbringers for you. Shadowbringers even? Really? God damn. I didn't realize it was that early.
Like then on your end, after
I thought it was
years
Stormblood
working on this game, having the launch, basically being required to work on 2 separate games at the same time,
That's a
patching
lot.
one and then building an entirely new one, almost in secret for a large part of it, to then see, like, what was it like reading reviews and reading message boards when people were like, oh fuck, they did it?
It was, yeah, I mean, we were just as surprised. I mean, not as surprised because again, it was definitely different. You know, in those months before releasing the original, I mean, I knew that the game wasn't in good shape, and so it's kind of
everybody knows
lying
it.
to yourself, trying to say, no, this is going to be good. They're going to like this part. They're going to like this part. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But with A Realm Reborn, playing it's like, this is a really good game. I mean, you're playing like enjoying it, you know. But there's still that little bit in the back of your mind that's like, you know, and it's what we were told, is that once the game has been reviewed, even if you try to rebuild it, everyone's going to remember the old. They're not going to look at the new. I mean, Metacritic never forgets. When 14 came out, the original, and it was maybe people were like, okay, I think, you know, I'm a hardcore offline Final Fantasy guy, but I'll try out this new one. But then, okay, it's terrible. See, I knew it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to come back for a second time. It's like, no, I already played that. It was terrible. And so there was just this feeling that even if it's a really great game, no one's going to play it. They're just going to like brush it off because it's the bad Final Fantasy Online that I tried, you know, in beta and it sucked, so I'm not going to play it.
It's really hard to get out from under that. It is so hard to get out from under people's, like, people already kind of making up their mind that it's like, this game is bad. And like, that's the thing, is like, I use again, like New World is an example of that. New World, you know, they fixed a lot of the stuff that they that they did wrong. Now, obviously, like, New World is like, it still has a million problems, but it's a bit of a comparison.
Anymore, and so yeah, we were afraid of that, but then, wow, it was just, I mean, servers breaking on, not breaking, but like servers getting so packed with people in those first few days, and then seeing the reviews come in, and you know,
people popping off.
They saved, and then they start saying things like, you know, you saved the franchise, and you know, you saved the series, and
yeah, exactly. It was massive. Like, I bet people were so happy. By the way, like, how the fuck did like a Goobu go wild and all die and they couldn't stop it? Like, that's one thing I didn't understand with the story. It's like, bro, this bitch is level 12. Like, isn't there somebody that can just like one-shot it in the whole city? Like, what do you mean it's going wild? It just casts one spell. You know what I mean? Like, I was pissed whenever I heard about that. I'm like, well, what do you mean?
And
it was on Stampede.
I don't know,
yeah,
remembering what it was like, you know, at their launch of 1.0, and then
some
just
being
able to,
because
who gets to re-experience a bad launch? It's something you don't get in the game industry. And
I do. Especially in MMOs.
And we did, and it was a great experience to be able to say, it was just that vindication of like all of that extra work that we had put in. It was what Yoshida-san had promised us. If we worked hard and we did this right, that in a year and a half's time, you know, we can do this. And a lot of people didn't believe him, and you know, a normal person probably wouldn't believe him. But I mean, maybe that's why we were able to do it, because all of the abnormals remained and made something that was, you know, literally impossible.
That's crazy. Holy fuck, man. Holy
やっぱ
fucking
り
shit.
サーバーがあまりにもその混雑してその遊べない。
Hey yo, some things never change. What was it? It said, oh, servers are full, nobody can play the game. I'm like, yeah. This video from like fucking like 5 years ago or something like that, right?
せっかくパッケージをお金を出して買ってきたのに、ゲームが遊べないとは何事だ。まあオンラインゲームだから当然サーバーに繋がらないと遊べないので。
Yeah.
なんか評価とか以前の問題で、その買ってもらったのに遊べない状況を作ってること自体が、その僕にとってはまあショック。まああんなに来るとはもちろん思って。
This is what happened with it happened with New World, where a lot of people played more than what they thought, and it happens with like every MMO. It's like you have to expect like everybody is just bored. Like if you make an MMO, even if your MMO is garbage, people are gonna play it. Like we all played Bless Online the first day, right? No, we didn't play it the second day, but we played it the first day. Like yeah, well, what's going on here? Yeah, you should just expect that.
なかったっていうのも 要因ですけど、だから評価云々の前にまずちゃんとゲームに接続して遊べるようにしなきゃっていうことばっかりが当時の1ヶ月半ぐらい出荷を停止したりとか販売を停止したりとか。
That's what they did with the game
そ
recently.
れしか全然覚えてないですね。
With most other genres, this would be the part of the story where we fade to black and roll credits.
Yeah.
But such luxuries don't exist in the world of massively multiplayer online
Nope.
games. In fact, after the release of A Realm Reborn, or
Shiva.
2.0 as they call it internally, the team applied the same content-rich patching schedule they had undertaken with 1.0, releasing a significant 2.x patch to the game every 3 to 4 months. Over the next 2
God
years, these
damn.
patches progressed the story of ARR, added in epic raids and new modes such as 72-player PvP battles. But just like before, while the
There it
team
is.
was working on these 2.x patches, they were concurrently building an updated version of the game, the first expansion pack, Heavensward.
I played that.
2014
I
年の
played that game. Look at that.
10月9月10月ぐらいかな、開発チームにも吉田さん申請したら楽になるって言ってませんでしたっけってバカ MMO これだけ巨大な規模の MMO は
It's like, no,
最初のエ
you're
クス
gonna
パンシ
say
ョン
it
パック
word.
出すと
Nope.
ころまでが
That's what you
スタートダッ
thought.
シュなんだよって言ってごめんねって
Well, I mean, it was what was in our minds was, you know, not having another letdown. Don't take for granted
Yeah.
that the rebuild was a success.
The first time I ever really heard about this game was with Heavensward. Before then, I didn't really hear much about Final Fantasy. I was just like, you know, it's whatever, right? It was Heavensward is whenever I really heard about it. Whenever the initial game came out. It's because, like, Heavensward came out about, like, the same time-ish that fucking WoD was out. And I think so. I don't remember exactly. But I feel like it was, like, kind of, like, in that same time period that I was, like, made aware of it. And, like, there were some people that were playing the other game. They're like, I'm going to try out Final Fantasy. See what that's like.
We can't just expect our users to say, oh, they're going to release expansion, so we can do whatever we want, and doesn't matter, they'll buy it, ha ha ha. You know, there was none of that sense. One good thing that came out of the failed launch is that
What's
it's
that?
instilled into, you know, the developers, all of the developers' minds that, you know, we have to always strive to be better. We can't, you know, let our guard down. It's in everyone's mind, and it's always lurking back there. We don't want to repeat that, and because of that, everyone is like always on the top of their game.
Is that still there even now? Because it's been 3.5 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, the old guard, yes, we all have that. We all have that.
Yeah, I
but
bet. I'd
it's
be
not all the
freaking
old
out.
guard anymore. People have moved off onto other projects. Some people have left the company to go freelance, you know,
sense.
explore new
Desert, thanks for
opportunities.
5 subs.
A lot of new people have come in, and so a lot of people, yeah, don't remember, you know, what happened in 1.0 because they
you
weren't
summer
there.
children.
That's right, exactly. And you know, us old timers can tell them, well, back in my day, we did it, and they'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. And you know, sometimes it does feel like that. There's always the chance that, you know, you can just get too full of yourself and not do 100%, not learn from your mistakes, and
I feel like that's
you know,
what
the
usually
community was
happens.
like, no, we're done.
That's what usually happens is like people like they have like a big dub and then they just kind of get lazy. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens. It's like with Blizzard is like Blizzard, CD Projekt Red. Like there's a lot of other ones too. I probably just like those are the first to phone it in. Yeah, basically.
And you know, we were lucky to be given a second chance. We were really lucky to have that second chance actually succeed. I don't know, third time, I don't know if I want to, you know, press my luck any further. It's not a good, fun situation to be in. The things that I've learned over these past 7-8 years working on 11, the original and the new and the expansions, is something that I'm going to carry with me to all future projects, as it will with, I mean, all of the other devs that have done that. a piece of that Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, a piece of that, ARR and the expansions will be with all of them, and hopefully they'll be able to use that in all their future projects.
Heavensward was another win for the team. Critically praised and loved by the community, it helped push cumulative subscriptions for the game beyond 5 million. In fact, the amount of players in Eorzea has kept rising.
I wonder how many people, how many active subs they have, right? Because these are people that have played the game, but I wonder how many that they have at any given time. 5 mil, that's huge. I would say 1.5 to 4.5 million. But it's I don't really know that. I have nothing to really base that off of. It's just a guess.
あります。上がり下がりをしながら少しずつ右へ上がっていくっていうのが、あんまり他の MMO ではない曲線なのかもしれないですけど、とにかくゲームデザインでずっとこのファイナルファンタジー14というゲームをプレイし続けていなければついていけなくなるとか、その一度やめてしまったら戻れないっていうふうに絶対にならないよ。
That's probably why it retains a lot of players, is because it doesn't try to retain a lot of players. It's people come back and they'll leave and they'll play the game and they'll come back and forth, but they don't burn out of it. I think having burning out of a game is bad. That, in my opinion, that's what's really unhealthy for a game, is people burn out and then they don't want to play it anymore. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They don't want to think about it. They don't even want to look at it, you know?
っていうのが14のゲームデザインの根幹にある。なぜなら今本当にみんな忙しい。一つのゲームだけになんだろう、毎日ログインし続けられるわけじゃない。それはもともと MMO が大好きな僕ですらそうなので、そう考えた時に遊びたい時に遊んで、メジャーアップデートが来たら一気に遊んで、少し落ち着いて他のゲームを遊んだり、家族サービスをしたりで、またメジャーが来たらそれでいいと思ってるし、これからの MMO はそうじゃないと多分
That is fucking true. I think that's absolutely true. Games that try to make you log on and be online all the time, I feel those are the games that people get burnt out from, people don't give a shit about, and they just in general learn, they over time they begin to resent the game, you know? And Lost Ark has that problem with for example, playing the game on one character is not, it's good, right? But if you don't if you don't pay to win, if you don't RMT, and you're playing one character, you might not even be at Vicus yet, and that's if you're playing all the time, you know. And I think that's what the issue is that you have games like that, and WoW, and New World had this to an extent with the fucking gypsum orbs and stuff like that, chest runs, etc. And yeah, things that make you feel like you have to play the game. That's what made me not like raiding, is I felt I had to play the game.
やっていけない。でやっぱり大きくゲーム1本分の新しい体験が来た時、全員集合して最新のファイナルファンタジーをプレイしてもらいたい。だからそれが基本ベースにあるので、やっぱりそのパッチの間で上がり下がりはする。ただ評判を聞いてずっと増え続けていくっていうのが理想だと思ってるし、
I think it'll keep going up too.
やれてきてるので、ただもっともっと遊んでほしい、たくさんの人にと思ってるので、
well, we did.
まだまだ続けたいとは思う。
Yeah, a lot of people popped off and started
The latest
playing
expansion pack, Stormblood, comes...
I feel this is what happened, is that a lot of people... See, the thing is, with WoW, for example, people would have never left WoW if, they didn't drop the ball so hard. I don't think people recognize and realize, how hard Blizzard dropped the ball from, Legion to fucking now, basically. It was just so bad. Absolute fucking garbage. And yeah, it was so hard so many times. Dragonfight is almost a last shot in the eyes of people, or now the awareness of Final Fantasy XIV has been so prevalent lately. I think the reality is that I don't think Shadowlands really turned players into it didn't turn WoW players into Final Fantasy players. It turned WoW players into MMO players. Because a lot of the people, like, they realize, like, yeah, I'm going to play Final Fantasy for a while, then I'm going to play Lost Ark, and, you know, I might try out New World whenever it comes out. So, like, before then, WoW was, like, the only game, and, like, now I think that people play Final Fantasy, they play Lost Ark, Elden Ring. I mean, even Ian said in the interview that I did with him, like, yeah, I played Elden Ring, right? It's like, of course. So I think that's much more what it did. It wasn't like everybody comes back to, like, that game or not. And also, conversely, there are a lot of people that every single time that WoW comes out with an expansion, they're going to buy it. If Dragonflight sucks, it doesn't matter. They'll buy the next one too. Because most people that play WoW, that are big WoW fans, they get their money's worth from just, like, playing the game for 1 month, right? They play the expansion, they play through the first raid, they do that a couple times, maybe they stay sub the second month, maybe not, and then they're done until maybe the last, the last couple of patches for that expansion, and then it just repeats itself. Like, that's what happens. So yeah, I think that's what the WoW decline did, is it didn't really make a lot of Final Fantasy players, it made a lot of MMO players.
It's hot on the heels of 2 years worth of 3.x patches, which have added fresh storylines and features to Heavensward. With it comes increased level caps, new dungeons, jobs, raids, zones, and some changes to the battle system. Stormblood will also mark the end of the game's lifetime on the PlayStation 3, but of course in the intervening years, the team has since launched the game on the PlayStation 4. Final Fantasy XIV had been a financial disaster for Square Enix.
I bet.
Subscriptions were turned off for most of the 1.x era, and the company poured significant funds and trust into the team tasked with its rebirth. The importance of this franchise to the company is mirrored by its importance to its players and of course the development team. This is a group of people who have dedicated years into ensuring that this game came back from the dead. Yoshida-san says he only needs about 4 hours sleep a night. I asked him about his social life. He says he doesn't really remember anything except work. He speaks
I wish that I could sleep for 4 hours a night, man. I waste so much time sleeping. It sucks. Like, I wish I could sleep 4 hours. Yeah, that'd be great. Like, I have to sleep like 8 hours a day, or like I am just not good.
Fondly of those players that stuck with the team, those warriors of light that were saved at the end of 1.0. His respect for fans of this game and all Final Fantasy fans is clear to see. The realm of Eorzea is totally different now. A bustling, vibrant place full of stories, quests and adventurers. A world expanded upon even more with the release of Stormblood. But the old world, the story of 1.0, the fall of Dalamud and the people who survived the cataclysm will always live on. Those who were there, be them player or developer, will forever be bound together by that experience.
Instead of a lot of games will create, these myths for their games, we have a myth that actually happened, but because it happened so long ago and only a few people saw it, most of the new players now, they look at back and it's like, did it really happen? What is this battle with the White Raven and Riven Road? And
that was actually one of the things that happened with Classic WoW, I think, is that, like, so much of the game, especially with, like, removed content like Nax and stuff, so much of it was, like, shrouded kind of in mystery. You didn't really know what it was really like. And I think that was the big reason why a lot of people wanted to go back and have the experience again, Is it like, what really was this like? Because it was so long ago.
It was just this grand battle, all different levels and this, dimensional rifts. And it sounds like an actual myth, but it's not just a story we made up for this, it's actually happened. And as the game progresses and new players come on, I mean, it's further and further back in history that this really cool thing happened. And so, I mean, that visual works cutscene. I mean, I remember watching it. I'm just like, goosebumps all over. I mean, I'm watching with all of these other, like the directors and producers and the director of the visual works, and we're all sitting there and they're all watching, and I'm just watching them like I've got like tear in my eyes. Yeah, it's dust, and
it was really good. It was
that powerful because it kind of encompassed not only what the character went through, it was an image of what we as developers had done as well. At the beginning, we're all, let's do this. It's going to be an adventure. We're like that first cutscene where, with the party that goes out and they have their guild leave and they go out and they fight the Morbull, and that's us at the beginning. And then the release hits you and you're down. I mean, then you have that cutscene where it's just like everyone's working together to make something new. and then it failed, but no, it didn't fail, and you're just, and all of the memories of, you know, the past years, the good and the bad kind of all come together.
I like the metaphor of that. That's cool.
And, you know, just so overwhelming. And that's, you know, pretty much the reaction then when we finally released it to the public that we got. I mean, so many people. I just remember the forums, checking out the forums that day. I mean, people were just like, I've been in tears all day. I've watched it 10 times. And to see that, you know, that everyone felt the same way. It wasn't just, you know, the development team. It's that you have this hardcore group of very, very loyal fans that, you know, they believed in the game. We believed in the game. We stuck together. We were able to build, you know, this new thing that's not just for us, but it's opening up the doors for a whole new audience. But, you know, remember, we were there first. We're the ones that, you know, that stood by it, and we're the ones that did this. And, you know, they have the pride in that. Those players,
I bet that would have been so
those
crazy.
Warriors of Light that were, you know,
that would have been so fucking crazy to see they get to stick around with the game and then actually see it do well. You know, like, I mean, damn. Like, I really think so. It's just, I can't even really imagine that. It is just, it's so cool to me.
Before Meteor
They have
Dies,
the name in there? Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Yoshida-san in interviews will always talk about, you know, those people that supported us and we couldn't have done it. I mean, it sounds so cliche. Oh, we couldn't have done it without your support. Literally,
That's
we
true,
could not
yeah.
have done it. Literally, we could not have done it. I mean, if there was, those people hadn't remained, we just would like, no, let's forget it. We're not going to do it. We wouldn't have put as much effort in. It would have just been, okay, yeah, whatever, let's just free to play, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and then what? Yeah, free to play and, you know, cash shop and, you know, like, uh-huh. Yeah, because he knows how it goes. He's played video games. He knows what's going on, right? You make a game free to play, there's a reason for that. And it's almost never good.
Back when, you know, 1.0 came out, and could you have imagined that 3-4 years later you'd be in a fan event with thousands of people in Germany?
No, I don't really imagine that. Yeah, I mean, one day, I mean, yeah, we were, I mean,
maybe one day I'll go to one of
saying
these.
One day we want to run a big fun event. We were, I mean, actually dreaming to have a huge fun festival.
Yeah, that'd be
in the
cool.
future at that time, but actually, yeah, we made it. So yeah, that was really great.
Some dreams come true.
Yes, yes.
まあただ自分スクエア長いんですけれども、あんまり変な言い方ですけど、こう会社に対して帰属意識というか、なんかそこはあまりなくてですね、やっぱりゲーム作るって誰と一緒に作るかがすごく大切で、そこが一番重要だなと思っているんで、今回のプロジェクトは本当に組んでみたいというスタッフと組んで、すごく大きなことがやれて、すごい楽しかったし楽しいですねって感じではい。
まあ強調したいことがあるとすれば、その初日に 1.0 の話をしてましたけど、誰か一人そのもしくはデベロップメントチームがということではなくて、やっぱり今でも本当に会社自体の大きな
That's one of the things, like, people talk about company-wide mistake. Like, that's the thing is, like, every once in a while, there's, like, one guy that'll, like, leave Blizzard. And, like, the one person leaves Blizzard, and, like, I remember this happened, I think the guy's name is Jeff Hamilton. He was a systems designer. And, like, the guy left Blizzard, and everybody was like, wow, the game is saved. It's like they honestly thought that it was just Jeff sitting there fucking like, yeah, I'm gonna mess this one up, I'm gonna mess that one up, I'm gonna mess it all up, yeah. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, all of the decisions that happen with like big games like this, these are like massive decisions made by a lot of people put together.
過ちがその全ての悪い部分がファイナルファンタジー14で出てしまったっていう、そのまあそれはリリースって意味のデータではなくて、それが全て爆発したのがファイナルファンタジー14のオリジナルバージョンだったんじゃないかって本当に強く思ってるので、でも今そのまあ14のリバンプを会社全体としてやって、
I heard Final Fantasy XV wasn't that good.
スクエニは少しずつ変わってきたと思ってるし、
Yeah, people said like negative stuff
もっ
about
と
it.
変わらなきゃいけな
I
い
don't
と
know
思
if
っ
it
て
is or
る。
not.
もしかすると少し安心してる人たちも今いるのかもしれないけど、まだまだ変わらなきゃいけないと思ってるので、なんかそのあたりがうまく伝わってるといいなとは思います。これはなんだろう、スクエアエニックスっていう会社が作るゲームに期待してもらってる人が世界中にたくさんいると思うんですけど、僕もそうだったから。でもまだまだスクエアエニックスってこのレベルじゃない。
Everybody can always do better, right? And I think that's what a lot of people want to see, right? Is they just want to see the best content possible, right? Like that's it. Is like things can always be better. Like Elden Ring can be better, right? Every game can be better.
じゃん、もっと上いけるじゃんって思ってくれてるはずなので、そのためにはもっと変わらなきゃいけないし、チャレンジもしなきゃいけないと思ってるので、そういった要素も今回のそのお話でうまく伝わってくれると嬉しいかなとは思います。僕らはそういうつもりでやってますっていうメッセージが少しでもね出ていけばいいなとは。プレイヤーの皆さんと会社が望めばそうなってると思いますし、プレイヤーの皆さんや会社が他のゲームを作れって望んでくれれば他のゲーム作ってるかもしれないですし、両方一緒に同時にやってるかもしれないし、僕は少なくともスクエアエニックスって今会社の、スタッフで自分の会社なわけではないので、やっぱプレイヤーの皆さん、ファンの皆さんがスクエアエニックスに何を期待するのかっていうのを会社がどう考えるかだと僕は思ってるんで、まあ、もちろん自分で作ってみたいゲームがないわけじゃもちろんないですけど、まあ、好きなものを作りたいならね、会社辞めて自分で会社作って作ればって思っちゃうんで、まあ望まれる限りは頑張ろうと思いますけど、ただそろそろねプロデューサーとディレクターのどっちかは誰かやってくんねえかなって思いますけどね。
He says he's got to work too much. Yeah, I can imagine like being in charge of like the whole game is so fucking draining, man. I would bet it was. Like I would think so. Absolutely, man. Holy shit. Yeah, it must be hard.
The tale of the death and rebirth of Final Fantasy XIV Online is a cautionary tale in corporate hubris. It's a story about the power of humility, respect, and unity. A fun story for those of us who knew nothing about it. Cherished times for those who were fortunate enough to be there when it all happened.
I don't know if fortunate's the word.
A wonderful reminder of something we come across so often in life. The idea that reality can often be even more amazing than the fantasy.
That's true. This was really good. Holy shit, this was really, really good. Yeah, I like this a lot. I mean, they had the interviews. Like, yeah, this was really great. Holy shit, yeah, this documentary was amazing. I loved it. Maybe for Shadowbringers? Yeah, I know. It's weird to think I'm gonna play the game again, too. Like, I don't think I've logged on to Final Fantasy in, like, months. Oh my god, it's gonna be weird.